Bad news for Sussex and York. William and Charles shake hands to bring the royals to order. The future kings have launched a secret palace war, but the end result is a dangerous schism emerging amongst the Windsors. Hello, and a very warm welcome to the Sussex Daily news channel. The War of the Roses was very long and complicated. There were decades of pointless fighting which involved many men with names such as Percy and Peregrine who lost their limbs in the battlefields. The War of the Roses was a conflict where the nobility and monarchs of England intermittently battled for supremacy over a period of 4 decades. The bloody dynastic conflict was all about power and money, with Richard, Duke of York, stirring the pot vigorously. It is unlikely that anyone is going to fall off a horse in a muddy paddock and lose an appendage. Yet today we have another Duke of York, Prince Andrew, whose ego and sense of entitlement is set to spark a new royal civil war. Early on Tuesday morning, Garter Day was held at Windsor Castle, and this was the first time the event had occurred since the pandemic. The Order of the Garter was founded by King Edward III in 1348, and it is ranked as the highest British civil and military honour obtainable. The order was established to commemorate an incident in which Edward was dancing and one of his partner's blue garters dropped to the floor. A bystander laughed, and Edward picked up the garter and put it on his own leg. Those were the days when a king could really let his fancy take flight. But today Garter Day involves a luncheon at Windsor Castle, which is followed by a stately procession down to St. George's Church for a service. The knights and lady companions are clad in beautiful heavy velvet robes. Gold chains and beautiful plumes of feathers are worn. Afterwards, they make their way up the hill to the big house via antique carriages. It is a very grand and public event. This year's Garter Day was all set to star the world's most famous royal black sheep. His attendance was going to be a return to public life. Andrew had been sacked from his official roles, but after he settled a civil sex abuse lawsuit earlier this year, it was thought he might return to public duties. Andrew's attendance on Monday seemed to have been set in stone over the weekend. The programs had been printed, and Andrew was very clearly listed as being part of the procession. Dear Fergie was probably back at their shared home, called Royal Lodge, using the lint roller to spruce up the Duke's velvet robe. Then, at the last minute, there was a phone call that torpedoed Andrew's best-laid plans. It has been reported that Prince Charles and Prince William got together. They discussed the prospect of Andrew attending and him being photographed. They were horrified at the thought and staged an 11th-hour intervention. According to Robert Jobson of the Evening Standard, William went to his grandmother and laid down an ultimatum. Apparently, William was adamant. If Andrew insisted on taking part, he would withdraw. In the end, the Queen came up with a clever idea. Andrew would be allowed to attend all the private parts of the Garter Day celebrations, conducted away from lenses. Andrew was to stay out of sight and of the public and the press. The end result is we have about 887 new photographs of Kate, Duchess of Cambridge, wearing a very strange hat. It seems highly unlikely that Andrew will go back to Royal Lodge, put up his feet, and work his way through a packet of hobnobs to cheer himself up. We have some bad news for you. The 62-year-old lacks cash, has no official roles, or dignity and friends. But what about his ego? This is a completely different story indeed. How does one explain a report that appeared on Monday in the Telegraph? Prince Andrew wants his status as a blood prince reinstated. He would like to use his title, His Royal Highness, again, and would also like to be part of the prestigious and honorary role as Colonel of the Grenadier Guards. Andrew would like his position recognized and respected. I am not sure whether this latest Andrew mess news makes me want to laugh or cry. This pompous prince is grotesquely deluded. It seems there is a new and powerful fault line currently snaking its way right down the middle of the royal house. There are now two clear factions that have emerged behind the palace gates. One is headed up by the two future kings who are intent on saving the monarchy, and the other is by the disgruntled Duke of York, who, just like his 15th century forebearer, wants more of everything. Charles and William are united in their ironclad belief that Andrew no longer has a place in public life. Their various interdictions have played a fundamental role in banishing Andrew. After Andrew's catastrophic Newsnight interview in November 2019, the Wales duo were involved in forcing Andrew to step down as a working member of the royal family. The same happened in January this year when a judge in New York confirmed that Miss Jeffrey's civil sex abuse case would go ahead. Again, the father and son team was instrumental in the decision that Andrew be stripped of his remaining royal roles, as well as his ability to use his Royal Highness title. An article in The Times revealed last year that William, Duke of Cambridge, views his uncle as a threat to the family. It was also reported in The Times that members of Andrew's team at the time had accused a senior figure in Prince William's office of leaking stories about Andrew to the media. Charles and Andrew have never been close. Andrew can spend hours watching pornography, while his older brother is a 15th century Tuscan architecture-loving pseudo-intellectual. The situation does not stop with these three men. The situation also involves Andrew's daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, and by extension it involves Harry and Meghan too. It has been reported that Andrew would love his girls to become working members of the royal family. This would see them dedicate themselves full-time to the monarchy. In return, they would be guaranteed lifelong financial support and grace and favour homes forever. It must be noted that Beatrice and Eugenie have never indicated that they are comfortable in giving up their cushy lives in favour of royal commitments. Why would they give up their holidays in Capri or Chelsea's better boutiques so that they could spend their days cutting ribbons at royal duty events? The battle lines are clear. William and Charles have worried about how much damage the one puffed-up duke might have done to the monarchy before they have been given the opportunity to run the show. There are some royals who seem to think that they have got a bad deal, and they would like a bigger helping of what they think is rightfully theirs. Unless the situation is managed very carefully, there could be an all-out royal war. There was a recent royal crisis where one brother clearly received favourable treatment over the other. This resulted in Harry and Meghan now living in California. During the turmoil over the last few years, the Sussexes have remained close to the Yorks. Princess Eugenie was the only member of the royal family who has visited Harry and Meghan. She visited them in February, accompanied by her husband and baby son. They also sat together at the Thanksgiving service at St. Paul's, which was part of the Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebrations. Andrew and Harry are now official spares. They have faced the brunt of what happens when Charles and William team up. Over the past decade, Charles has been committed to streamlining the monarchy. All of the Queen's grandchildren, except for William, occupy a very strange space between being members of the royal family, while being left with no other choice but to get on with normal lives. These cousins do indeed have titles, but yet they attended the Trooping of the Colour, arriving by bus. There is a possibility that the situation could ferment and fester. The institution is on the brink of the biggest upheaval in nearly a century. We know what this is when Her Majesty the Queen dies. Charles and William have acted in the best interests of the crown. But just how much of an enemy have they made of the Duke? What could Andrew possibly do next to reclaim his place in the royal spotlight? The man is arrogant, and he has the time to justify the fighting for what he thinks should be his. Historians are divided on what they think happened to Richard, Duke of York. Did he die during a battle, or was he captured by the Lancastrians and executed? The moral of the story here is that things don't end up well for greedy dukes. Andrew had better get his act together. Quick sticks. And you, what do you think about this issue? Please tell me what your opinions are in the comments section, and we can talk about the royal family. If you find my video interesting, please share it and like it. Please subscribe to the channel in order to not miss any new videos from the Sussex Daily News channel. Now thank you for watching, goodbye, and see you tomorrow.